Alright, disclaimer. This is a personal YouTube channel. Any views or opinions represented in this YouTube channel are personal and solely belong to me as the owner and do not represent those people, organizations, or institutions that I or may not be associated with in professional or personal capacity unless explicitly stated. Any views or opinions are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, or any individual. Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, thank you. Alright, so it's 3:07. I think earlier I said 3:03. Oh my gosh. 57 plus 10, 3:03. Anyway, yeah, it's 3:07. Alright, on this lecture, we will discuss basically on the principles related to EIA, deduction and theory and principles with environmental impact assessment or EIA. So, as an introduction, this is actually the um, yeah. So this is the interlocking of development and environment. So as we can see, development is on the middle. Development project is on the middle of this one, two, three. What is six sides? One, two, three. Hexa. Oh my gosh, I'm not sure. And then, does anybody know what is six sides? Is it hexa? Um,
Yes, bro. Hexagon.
Hexagon. All right, yay. Okay, so this is the interlocking development of development and environment. So as you can see, development project is on the middle, and I said earlier, in every project, in every development, in every progress, in one way or another, our environment is always affected. May it be positive, or may it be negative. So also part of that development project, of course, we need growth. Um, the of course for survival, for profit, um, as a product, for better services, and of course for other projects. At the same time, of all these factors in the development project, in one way or another, it will affect our cultural environment. For example, a rural area transitioning into a city area, of course, in one way or another, the cultural environment will be affected. Biophysical, of course, if a rural area will be transitioning into a city area, then therefore, um, it will have its physical aspects will be affected. There will be more buildings instead of only residential areas. There will be more roads, constructions, and so on and so forth. Of course, it will be affected. Its economic environment will be affected. There is also a positive and negative effect to that. Of course, if the area is a city, like for example, Tacloban City is a highly urbanized city, we tend to have a higher tax compared to the other cities. At the same time, it can also increase job opportunities in a highly urbanized city, which actually equates also and contribute to the economic environment. But as I said again, there is a positive and negative um, impact to that. Of course, the technological environment, comparing our city to other cities, like now we already have solar multi-cabs and so on and so forth. Other cities does not have any solar multi-cab yet. At the same time, other cities actually has trains and trams on their city transport, but we don't have that yet. Um, Other technologies may include one of the things I like in other cities is free Wi-Fi. We don't have that yet in Tacloban, so that's one of the technological environment that is always that could be affected with a development project. At the same time, political environment, as we all know, the political how politics play, or how do politicians play in a city, um, if you are running in a city or if you are running in a rural area, at the same time, the political influence, I'd say, is much more geared in a city, in a city, or than in a rural or in a municipality aspect. But still, whatever it is, in a developmental project, always it is, the political environment is always affected, and of course, suicidal environment is always being affected. Um, yeah. So, again, in every development project, may it be project for survival, growth, product, services, profit, and other projects, these environmental aspects, will always be affected in one way or another. And as what we can also say, as what we can also see in this graph, that the relationship between development and environment, I don't know if you will agree or not, but the relationship between the development and environment is no less than the human nature interaction. I don't know if you agree or not, but the way I see it, it's actually true. Um, of course, a development project is always driven by human interaction, or I say human decision. Of course, of all the development projects, it is always run by human. And most of the projects, or whatever it is, the progress that we have in the surface of the earth, is always based on the human decision. And the relationship between development and environment, again, is based on the human nature interaction. If the human decides to have a development, if the human decides to have this kind of project, in which, as we all know, developmental project will affect all aspects of the environment. And going into the economic development, as we all know, the economic development process in its environmental context. If we are going to look on this graph, um, let us say, let's start with inputs. So when we say inputs, when it comes to production, whatever it is that we want to produce, it will always requires input. And if it requires input, of course, it requires a resource, a certain resource. For example, if you want to produce a cell phone, a new brand of cell phone, you want to produce, we have iPhone, maybe you want to produce iBanana, you want to produce iBanana phone. So you need the resources for that. So if we have a phone, of course we need metals. We need copper. We need I don't know, titanium, whatever it is, the component of a phone. Oh, of course we get that from our resource. At the same time, one of the things that would affect our inputs is our resource, and of course, whatever it is, the state of the ecosystem. In which, if we have inputs, we produce something that for us to contribute to our economy. So if we produce iBanana and the technology is good, then therefore it can have, in comparison with iPhone, then therefore maybe iPhone will lower its price, because it's quite expensive. Though they offer a good kind of phone, but it's quite expensive. But since you created iBanana phone, which is the technology and convenience and whatever the features of iPhone is, it's comparative with your iBanana, then therefore you can affect, or you can contribute to our economy. In which, if we have inputs, it can contribute to our economy. It can contribute to our global development product, or GDP, which is actually the output. Yeah, because that um, the profit of iPhone and how it plays in our economy, it's actually contribute to taxes and profit per se. However, as we all know, to any kind of production, again, in relation to EIA, to any kind of development project, there is always waste. We cannot get away with waste. Whatever we want to do, there is always waste. If we take a bath, of course, the water that we use will be a waste. If we brush our teeth, of course, the waste is, the toothpaste um, that we gargle with, we cleanse, the water that we cleanse with the toothpaste that we use in brushing our teeth will be waste. Whatever it is that we produce, if we want to produce iBanana phone, there is always a waste. in which this waste will contribute to pollution, and of course the outputs of whatever it is of our products, though it would contribute to the gross domestic product, it would still go, some of it would still go to waste. And of course, as we all know, waste, if not recycled, will contribute to pollution. And as what we all know, pollution will always affect our environment. And our environment, whatever it is, the state of our environment, will deplete our resources and will disrupt our ecosystem. And whatever happens to our resource and whatever happens to our ecosystems will always affect our inputs. So that is why, again, just to elaborate, that the economic development process is always integrated with the environmental context. And again, whatever it is, the kind of project that we will be proposing or we will be doing, whatever kind of activity it is, whatever kind of developmental project, in one way or another, it will always affect all aspect of the environment. May it have an adverse effect, may it have an adverse impact or less likely to to happen. But in one or another, again, there is always an impact. So the nature of environmental impact assessment is actually a process which identify, again, as what we discussed earlier with the screening and the preliminary, is to identify and predict the impact on the environment and on the man's health and well-being of the legislative proposals, policies, programs, projects, and operational procedures, and to interpret and communicate information about the impacts. So, at the same time, the nature of EIA is, according to UN ECE 1991, is an assessment of the impact of a planned activity on the environment. So, again, the purpose of EIA study is for us to mitigate the possible adverse impacts of the proposed project or proposed study, and at the same time for us um, to advise or for us to make a decision as to how are we going to mitigate to lessen the adverse effects of our development project or our proposed project or proposed study. Another term for EIA is the term environmental impact assessment describes a technique and a process by which information about the environment effects of a project is collected both by the developer and from the other sources, and taking into account by planning authority informing their judgment or whether the development should go ahead. So that's from UK DOA or 1989. So just like what I mentioned earlier, um, So just like what I mentioned earlier, if during the preliminary assessment, if there is likely less potential impact of the proposed study or proposed project, then therefore we don't have to go and proceed with the phase 2 or the EA full study. At the same time, it's also, of course, before you do your project, you have to secure first your environmental compliance certificate or ECC, which is issued by DNR EMB. Of course, before you do anything, before you buy your cement and before you buy your steel bars, and so on and so forth, of course, first you have to secure ECC. And by the assessment of EMB DNR, if for them, again, if the adverse effects of your project is so adverse that the environment that will be affected will not be able to rehabilitate or will not be able to compensate whatever it is the adverse effect of your project, then therefore the DNRMB will decide of no issuance of ECC. Therefore, which means you cannot proceed with your project.